Nobody anticipated that Yandy and Mendeecees' subtle anxiety would explode so quickly and loudly. Social media timelines have been buzzing with rumors for days. Fan-driven hypotheses and purported insider blogs assert that Yandy's reality changed as soon as fresh Tamar disclosures began making the rounds online. Even though the pair hasn't verified any of these allegations, the headline is appearing on websites all over the place. Yandy responds angrily. There was shouting, accusations, and even an alleged time when Yandy lost control, according to the rumor mill. Moreover, fans were shocked when the tale broke, since, according to certain rumors circulating, that explosive reaction included a slap. On the internet, they had no idea where to start. Was it Tamar's remarks that came up again? Was it Funky? Was it Denevist's dramatic timeline that evoked these feelings? Or was it the actual mayhem taking place behind closed doors in a house already overburdened by long-standing conflict and fresh rumors? Comment sections become battlegrounds in an instant. Some backed Yandy, claiming that any lady would lose it if she received unexpected news concerning her husband. The loudest voices asked the same question, despite others' insistence that the whole scenario was being overblown and blown out of proportion for clicks. What did Yandy hear, and why did it make her feel this way? Posts that went viral claimed that even close friends were taken aback. According to one source, the atmosphere in the room abruptly changed, as if everyone could feel an emotional fuse igniting as the conclusion drew near. Another fan compared the chaos to an unexpected hurricane. Additionally, more people on the internet felt as though they were witnessing a real life as these profiles kept appearing. Drama plays out in slow motion. The biggest twist, however, is that no one is certain of what really transpired. All we know is that something about Tam was brought up, and things got out of control. And that's where this tale starts. Yandy apparently lost her temper at that same time, startling everyone around her. People assumed that, like most internet storms, the initial wave of rumors would pass in a day or two. However, this one persisted. It shifted from small blogs to reaction channels, from sporadic comment sections to large gossip pages, all of which repeated the same message in different ways. Yandy allegedly lost it after hearing the new Tamar tea. According to sources, everyone spoke as though they knew what those fresh revelations were, even though nobody could pinpoint them precisely. And one narrative kept coming up repeatedly in the middle of it. On a night when emotions ran high and a slap supposedly altered everything in that house, the same image was painted slightly differently each time. Based on the rumors circulating, the day began as usual. Yandy was at home managing calls, family, and the typical turmoil of daily life. However, there was a subtle tension developing beneath that routine. According to those close to her, at least according to the way the story is being told online, she had already seen a few clips circulating that morning, including ones in which Tamar's name was mentioned. One particular night was brought up again, and Funky's in-depth commentary made old questions seem fresh. The expression on Yandy's face in her earlier social media posts that day, according to fans, wasn't her typical serene radiance. It appeared focused and taut, as if someone was attempting to hide anything serious. By the afternoon, the story had spread to other blogs. Funky's most recent live performance, according to some, was the tipping point. Not because he made personal attacks, but rather because the timeline he presented made earlier events seem far more dubious. Yandy was allegedly seen scrolling through comments, according to a few fan pages. Some claim to have seen a now-deleted post, while others tag her in comments such, "If this was me, I'd be asking a lot of questions at home." Narrative in which she penned a succinct and incisive comment regarding others using her work. Nothing official, nothing verified, just enough to keep everyone interested. According to the version of the story that is currently making the rounds, Mendeecees felt that energy as soon as he entered through the door that night. At first, there was no yelling or mayhem. It was the kind of silence where even the smallest sound has an impact. On the table, loud dots the keys. The door closed softly. His footsteps reverberated down the corridor. Yandy was in the living room already. Her eyes reflected the light from her phone's screen. Jaw tightened, in severe concentration, but not in full fury. "Did you see it?" Seeing the phone in her hand, he allegedly inquired. Didn't respond immediately. That's how the tale goes. Anyway, to make the headline visible to him, she merely slightly angled the screen. Everyone was sharing. She allegedly said, "You tell me," in a steady, low voice that carried a sting. The headline didn't mention his name, but it didn't really need to. Instead, it hinted at a specific man, a specific night, and a connection that fans were already figuring out in the comments. One blog even placed two old photos side by side, one of Tamar and one of Mendeecees. "Let the audience does the rest of the work," he allegedly said, shaking his head. "These people are reaching. They just want views." But what bothered Yandy, at least according to those recounting the story, wasn't just the blogs talking. It was the pattern. The way his name kept coming up whenever that night was brought up. And the way people seemed to be making connections she hadn't. She is reported to have responded. "It's the way you react every time it comes up. It's not just them. The way you stare at me when I ask you direct questions and you avoid answering them. I told you already," he reportedly stated. sitting on the opposite end of the couch and leaning forward with his elbows resting on his knees. Nothing happened, twisting things for fun, and the internet divides at this point. He seems sincere to some observers. Others maintain that such composure only occurs when a person has practiced their response excessively. In any case, viewers who weren't present are now analyzing the event in slow motion. One purported insider account that has been circulating claims that Yandy's patience broke at that same moment. She had spent months, if not more, dismissing rumors, believing what he said, and mentally defending him if something dubious came up. However, observing with Tamar's name all over it and Funky guiding everyone through timeframes while pressing on a bruise she was unaware was still painful, everything came back to life with such audacity. She allegedly questioned, "So why does it keep coming back? Why does it sound worse with every new clip?" He apparently rubbed his temples since people don't let things go, especially when they think there's more. Did she push him? He glanced at her, and there was that little stillness. The way the story is told, but that half-second in between is being treated like its own piece of evidence in the court of public opinion. Friends are now claiming that at some point during this conversation, Yandy's phone started ringing non-stop. Messages from people asking if she was okay, sending her links, clips, screenshots, and some say she had a group chat blowing up. "Girl, have you seen what they're saying now? And this is too much?" People are saying, "Your name is now being dragged into it." According to the story, she eventually got up from the couch, pacing slowly, phone still in hand, her emotions shifting from tight control to open frustration. "I'm tired of being calm. I'm tired of acting like this doesn't bother me, she allegedly said. Others claim she ignored most of it and only opened a few, but those few were enough to make everything feel much more personal. In this version, Mendeecees attempted to maintain a level voice in order to maintain harmony. "What do you want me to do? Go online and combat every rumor?" he inquired. "That's precisely what they desire. I want you to make me feel like I'm not crazy for asking questions," she reportedly said in response. That's the line. Fans frequently claim that it struck them in the chest in their own posts. The back and forth between them allegedly lasted longer than any of them anticipated. The slap people keep talking about in the headlines didn't happen right away. Instead, it was layered under hours of tension, unsaid things, old doubts, and new triggers. People are quoting it as if they heard it themselves, relating it to their own relationships, and projecting their own stories onto a situation they only know through secondhand accounts. The mood changed from tense conversation to something more heated when a new notification came through. One more blog post. One more twist on the story. Some say Yandy's voice remained controlled most of the time, breaking only occasionally when the combination of public embarrassment and private uncertainty got too heavy. Others claim she raised her voice multiple times, letting out the kind of anger she doesn't usually show on camera. Whichever version is true, most accounts agree. One more online comment. "If this is true, I'd hate to be at that dinner table tonight," she reportedly said. "Do you see this? They're not talking about just some rumor anymore. They're talking about us like it's already confirmed. Like I'm the fool, sitting here pretending I don't see it." The message appeared, and something inside her snapped a little more. He reached for the phone, but she withdrew it. "Stop acting like this is just noise. Stop acting like this is just noise." Yandy froze when the message read, "It will hurt less if you tell her before someone else does." She gripped the phone tightly. All around the phone, what did Mendeecees' stomach drop? It wasn't what it sounded like. He was aware of that. However, everything, the timing, the message, the image, the rumors layered together like a trap meant to undermine confidence. He blurted out, "I have no idea what they're talking about." Her brows narrowed, though as his voice cracked slightly. "Are you certain?" she inquired, cold but steady. Yes, he was adamant. This individual speaks in riddles all the time. They enjoy acting dramatic. So why would they send this at this time? He didn't know, she said. She moved away when he attempted to grab her hand. She muttered, "I need space." For a moment only, grasping the counter for support, she moved to the far end of the room. She had trouble breathing. Recollections of every evening she stood up for him in public. She always put an end to rumors. Every day she assured herself that everything was all right. An increasing dread that perhaps she had spoken too soon mixed them all together. Mendeecees came over slowly. "Yandy pays attention. Not one of this is true. Are you familiar with me?" Her eyes gleamed as she gazed at him. "Do I have all the information? Really?" Her phone buzzed once more before he could respond. However, this time it was a video thumbnail rather than a message or a link. "Exclusive. New angle on the Tamar night" was the title. Mendeecees' heart stopped. "Don't open it," he blurted out. She fixed her gaze on him. There was no sense of protection in the hesitancy in his voice. It was frightening. "Why not?" she murmured. He answered, "Because these people edit things. They distort things. You will see something that is not what it appears to be. Then," she said, "let me determine that." She gave the video a tap. For a brief moment, the screen turned black. Then, a shaky video showed up. There are people moving around, dim lighting, and loud background music. The video appeared to have been captured covertly from behind a chair or table. The camera focused on a group of people conversing, including one of them, Yandy's chest twisted as the clip ended before anything clear could be seen. He moved closer and added, "This isn't proof. This person is crafting a narrative." She said, "But you were there." "Yes, but not in the manner they present it." Her voice trembled as she looked down. "I'm not sure what to trust anymore." Because it wasn't anger. That statement struck him more deeply than everything she had spoken thus far. It wasn't an accusation, it hurt. The anguish of someone who wanted to trust but was no longer sure how. Once more, he reached for her. "Talk to me, please. Keep them from winning." Her eyes were filled with pain as she looked up. "I'm making an effort, but something new falls every time I catch my breath. When the ground under me continues to tremble, how am I meant to hold on?" She needed something sturdy behind her, so she retreated till she came to the wall. Fearful of pushing too much, he followed slowly. "I love you," he said. She took a shaky breath and closed her eyes. Her phone buzzed once more before either of them could say anything more. "Love is easy. Trust is the part I'm fighting for." 3. A series of messages. The identical thing is being said by 3 distinct persons. "This is getting worse. Yandy." The first one she opened, one more screenshot, and another perspective. One moment turned into something else. Like a delicate thread tugged too tightly, the tension in the room broke. Additionally, neither of them knew how to fix it for the first time that evening. It seemed as though the air had thickened and the room was heavier than before. Yandy stared at the 3 fresh screenshots that had shown seconds apart while holding the phone in her fingers. They're all a little bit different, every one of them cropped in a way that cast doubt on the situation. They are all intended to raise questions. Whoever was sending them required careful timing selection. There should be just enough time between each drop, not too fast, not too slow, to allow the terror to subside before releasing it once again. Mendeecees kept a close eye on her, his face tight yet composed. He was disintegrating inside. He was able to witness the transformation in real time, not because he had done anything wrong. Under duress, he could sense trust eroding. With each subsequent communication, he could see the version of himself he had fought so hard to become vanishing in her eyes. "Yandy," he said in a quiet voice. She remained motionless and said, "Please put the phone down." She kept examining every screenshot, searching for background information, hints, or anything that might indicate this was a setup. However, it got worse the longer she stared. Although clumsy, the adjustments were successful. For those who wanted to think the worst, the angles were convincing even though they were incorrect, and she wasn't sure what she believed at the moment. "This is not what it looks like," he repeated as he approached her cautiously. She let out a shaky, sluggish breath. "That's the problem," she said. He softly extended his hand, but she retreated. "I don't know what anything looks like anymore." Instinctively, he was more affected by that slight movement than by any charge. "Don't pull away," he said. "I know," she responded in a shaky voice, "but I'm trying to hold myself together. I'm trying to fix this." One more buzz. Another communication, from a friend who didn't often engage in drama. Someone who would typically say, "Don't let the internet ruin your mood or stay out of it." However, their message was brief, urgent, and wholly uncharacteristic. "Check your direct messages, please. I received something, and it's not good." Yandy shut her eyes. She could feel her heart pounding in her throat. She hasn't yet opened the direct message. Until she had the guts to face whatever was inside, she couldn't. She set the phone on the table, face down. There was a complete stillness for the first time that evening. No chatting, no humming, no deeper breathing than is necessary. Just stillness, the type that warns rather than consoles. With a mixture of fear and resolve, Mendeecees sat down gently and observed her. "You know me better than the internet," he murmured. "You've witnessed everything, even my shortcomings, errors, and development. Don't allow people to completely alter my personality with a few. I'm not letting strangers rewrite anything. I'm reacting to how much you don't seem scared of these drops." "Because I didn't do anything," he insisted. "I'm scared of losing you, not of the lies." That sentence cracked something inside her. Not completely, but enough. She looked at him, her eyes softening for a moment. "You have to understand why this hurts," she said, sitting across from him, with her head in her hands and her elbows resting on her knees. "It's not the screenshots, it's not the rumors, it's the pattern. Every time the internet digs up something, it leads back to the same night, the same people. It's the same questions. I keep defending you to the world, but I need you to defend us to me." He took a big breath and said, "Tell me what you need." She hesitated. "I need the truth. Not the general truth, not the cleaned up version, the full truth. What happened that night that keeps turning into a story. I was there. I laughed. I talked to people. I hung around, and I went. That's all." The films she pressed were taken out of context. The screenshots were cropped to create confusion, and now I'm getting messages from people. He hesitated just a moment, but she saw it. "I don't know who's sending them," he said, leaning back with a look of disappointment. "I don't want half answers tonight," he said, suddenly restless. "And I don't want to keep being blamed for things I didn't do." She rose to match his energy. "I'm fighting for us. I'm not blaming you. I'm pleading with you to make me feel safe in this. But you're fighting the wrong battle." "Which battle am I fighting?" he asked, raising his voice slightly to express annoyance. The one where you think this is about the internet, she replied. This is about me, about how I feel, about how much he looked at her, his chest rising and falling. And she whispered, Yandy, I don't know what else to give you. Give me honesty. He raised his hands and said, I've been honest. Then why does it feel like I'm still missing pieces? Neither of them moved or spoke, and the silence between them stretched. Yandy didn't want to look, and Mendeecees didn't want her to either. But she reached for the phone when she received a new direct message from someone she hadn't spoken to in months. Her fingers hovered over the message, and when she opened it, it wasn't a screenshot or a clip. She hit play on the 3-second voice note, which was not a rumor. A woman's clear but muffled voice muttered, Ask him about the hallway. Ask him about the hallway. Yandy's blood rushed cold. Mendeecees' face went pale. She repeated it, needing to hear it again. He blinked quickly. What hallway? I don't know. Don't lie to me, she urged, moving closer. He claimed that he wasn't, but the little wobble in his voice betrayed him. She gazed up slowly, eyes sharp, voice steady but menacing. You're concealing something, Kat, he repeated, but it sounded weaker now. Again, firmer, this time. What hallway? He gulped hard, avoiding her sight for the first time that night. She moved forward inches from him. Someone knows something, she said, holding out the phone. Something particular.